When I worship you in silence and in truth. When I worship with my spirit, loving you.
We're here at Missions Fest in Vancouver, and we're excited to launch our new material, which you may have heard about, called Discipling Through Intentional Relationships. And as we've been traveling around the world doing our mentoring course and helping people understand the need for mentoring new leaders, we've consistently been asked, but how do I help a new believer grow? And this is really a tool designed to help new believers grow in the faith. So Doug, how is the material, how do you see the material fitting into the need of the church in Canada and also worldwide?
Well, I think it's generally agreed that there's a crisis in a sense of a lack of discipleship in the church. And one of the things that I've done is I've asked people about, are you in favor of discipleship? And they say, oh yeah, I would love to disciple people. Well, what's the block? What's the barrier that you need to overcome to actually become active as a discipler? And there's a couple things that come to the fore. That one is that a lot of people kind of have been discipled by osmosis, and there hasn't been a real intentional approach to their discipleship in their own growth experience. And the other thing is, as a result of that, is people aren't sure what to talk about. So we thought, let's put a resource together where you can take that resource and say, hey, here's 12 things we need to talk about in terms of your growth for Christ. And so we put this material together with an emphasis on an approach, of a relational approach, and we've kind of tried to break it down into 12 chapters that are set up as conversations and not just as an institutional learning experience or just something I read and have to absorb, but something that two people, a discipler and a disciple, need to work together and to work it through. The material is designed in such a way that each chapter should take about a month. So they're not something you have a cup of coffee over and we're done that chapter, but it needs to be worked through. And so to get through Guide 1 and Guide 2 takes about a year. And so hopefully what we've designed is appropriate for a believer who's been a believer for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and as they're growing, the material grows with them. And that's what we're trying to do. But the key is the relational piece of it. That's the key.
Which really is very similar to our mentoring material on leadership. So you'll notice it's designed very similar. There's 12 chapters, 6 chapters per guide. And as Doug was saying, each guide takes about a month per chapter, so about 6 months to go through one guide, as with the mentoring material for leaders. And so there's a primary part of the chapter you read, then you discuss it together. There's helps, there's lesson plans, and at the back there's also other resources to help you along with your walk with the Lord. And I think one of the other things that I think is really great, Doug, is that this is a tool now we can give to other leaders who are looking for tools that they can help disciple believers, those in the community of faith. How do we grow as a believer? And then from these 12 chapters as discipling through intentional relationships, that leads into our mentoring material to help them now grow in their capacity as a potential leader within the body of Christ.
And I don't always have words to say. Let my actions speak for me. Let my actions.
Remember the ministry flow chart, which is 6 columns, and the first 3 start with beginning with contact, making contact with somebody that's not a believer, and then helping them assimilate into the body of Christ, and then helping them grow or build, we call, helping them grow as a believer.
Yeah.
Well, those first 3 columns, really the mentoring guide didn't fit for that. But this discipling guide is really for those first 3 columns when somebody's first a believer or is searching, and then that leads into the final 3 columns, helping them identify their gifts, equipping them their gifts, and then releasing them into their ministry. And that's really where the mentoring guide will come in. And so the discipling guide is really for the first 3 columns of the flow of ministry in the church.
Yeah.
And then that leads directly into the mentoring guide, which is the final 3 columns helping releasing them into being a going Christian.
And so one of the dangers of organizing ministry and even of using the flow chart is these kind of ministries become something that is maybe institutional or organizational, whereas what we want to do is we want to train every believer in the church to be a discipler, that it's not up to a discipleship class or a program or a group or a membership or anything like that, but it's one-on-one, people feeling like they're empowered and they have the tools to disciple people.
Lord, let my actions speak your mind. Let my actions speak.
And this year our budget is about $10,000 to $15,000 in order to help get this material, both guides translated into first Russian and then into Spanish, French, and then the other languages that are primary languages that we work in. So we really appreciate your help in helping to come alongside of us and get this into the local languages so that people can be benefited as they help people grow in their faith and help them as new believers.
When I don't always have the words to say, let my actions speak for me.
Well, we're really looking forward to our time that we have later this year in August in Wittenberg, and we're really hoping and excited about the idea of you guys using the material, having a look at it, discipling some people.
Yeah, well, thanks, Doug. I think that's it's going to be great to be together with everyone, and you know, also there's others that want to look at this, who may be watching this video that want to look at some of the material. They can go to our website, icmcanada.org, and there we have samples of the material, and also they can purchase the material if they want to download it. So yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great year, 2019. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
To let my actions speak for you. To let my actions speak for you. 'Cause I don't want this to be just another song. Let this be my life's representation. When I don't always have the words to say, let my actions speak for me. To let my actions speak the truth. To let my actions speak for you.